Well, hello. We're live after a little bit of a break. Welcome. I'm so happy to be back. I hope my microphone's okay. Yeah, I took a little bit of a break, had some personal business, and now we're back at it. And I want to go back to working on this this blog build, the ocean. Not my name. This is the name given by the folks who designed this. We've been working on this for a long time, basically all of this year. We have the home page built, and we have this masonry page built, and it's looking really good. I was thinking today that I wanted to just jump back in and start building inner pages, but I had another idea, which is that, where are we here? Which is that maybe we should do a little bit of refactoring. Because I definitely need to reacquaint myself with this build. I have a terrible memory. If I go more than, sometimes even just weekend to weekend, I completely forget what I'm doing on some of these things. So maybe it would be a good idea to do a little bit of CSS refactoring, which we need to do anyways, but it would also reacquaint us with the project. So what do I mean by code refactoring? Let's see here. Well, what I mean by that is that really I just want to clean up some of these style sheets. I think they could be a little bit better organized. So let's go through each of these style sheets. We'll start with animate. There isn't anything we need to do here to the animate CSS file because this is a library that we got from the open source animate CSS project. So I'm not going to do anything different here. Footer, we could definitely do different. So what I'm noticing here, and there's not too much here, but we have a lot of things that are nested in a way that I think could be a little bit cleaner. So we've got footer, we've got forms. We could also definitely improve this. Header, this could be improved. Main, yep, I'm already seeing. It's funny because in the last, I haven't been streaming for about a month and a half, but I've still been working on things. I've been working on another personal project, my own, a website for myself. And it's hard to explain. It's like, well, why don't I always write CSS consistently? It's because I just don't sometimes. Also, the reason I started streaming is because I needed to practice front end. Even though I've been working as a front end developer for 11 years, in a job as a front end developer, I don't spend 100% of my time writing front end code. I spend a lot of time doing a lot of other things. I spend a very small percentage of time actually writing code. I also don't spend a lot of time building new things from scratch. I'm almost always working on an existing code base. So streaming has helped me reacquaint myself with how I like to organize my files. And with the last project that the current project that I'm working on, I've reacquainted myself with a cleaner, more efficient way to structure my CSS. And it got me thinking like, oh, I really should have done this on the Ocean blog. So today I was thinking, this would be a great opportunity to refactor some of this and move forward with sort of this way that I know I like to have things structured. And Coding Professional is here today. Hello, how are you? I am doing well. I know you've popped in on a couple of streams. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm happy to have you. Let's go ahead and do a little refactoring. So if I don't make sense, please ask me what I'm talking about, because I know that sometimes I can be a little bit verbose. Yeah, so you are welcome, coding professional. Okay, so here's our masonry style sheet. Here's our masonry style sheet. Here's normalize. Again, normalize is from the open source project called Normalize. So, and we copied and pasted this directly from GitHub, so we're not going to do anything to refactor this. Sidebar, this is definitely something that I want to refactor. Social, yes. Toolkit, I don't think so. This is pretty straightforward, and there really isn't anything here that is heavily nested that I think needs to be cleaned up. So I'm not worried about the toolkit. I think variables is also fine because this is literally just our variables, so I'm not too worried about this either. And then of course styles, this is our import. So there isn't anything we need to worry about here. So let's just start with social. We have lots of nesting here, So let's grab, so we know that social underscore nav is the top level. Then we've got a UL. Then we've got these social items. We've got an anchor element, and we have pseudo classes. So I think that the anchor and the pseudo classes can definitely stay together. But let's pull these out. And yes, we're definitely going to make sure that these have the correct nesting. And then let's also pull these out. And then we're going to take social nav and what do we call, I'm trying to think of the right word for this. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll think of it. So you can see here what I'm doing. So we have a UL, but it is specific to the social nav. And then we have social item, also going to be specific to the social nav. So it's just a way of nesting with, I guess, specificity. That's the word I'm thinking of right now, but I know that's not the right word. Hang on, we're going to look it up. Let's ask ChatGPT what to call this. ChatGPT is really good at explaining terminology to me if I can't quite figure out how to articulate an idea or a thought or explain a concept. It's really good at doing that for me. And let's take this. We'll just go down to the bottom. So this still feels a little too nested. One second here. I think this is still a little deep, so let's pull out this SVG. I don't think the SVG needs to be nested under the anchor element. I think it's enough that it's nested under social nav, so I don't think we need to go that deep with it. Okay, and I think this is fine. These pseudo classes here are just fine. we might need to put this, I need to put this up here. So you can see here, this is a lot cleaner and more structured. It's a better way to organize rather than just having that top level social_nav and then putting every single thing within that. I mean, there's nothing technically wrong with that. I don't think it is very tidy or clean. I think this is a cleaner way to do it. So let's make sure. Yes. And everything is still working. Everything is still working. And we can see here, social nav UL, social nav social item. Here's social nav A and social nav SVG. That is very clean. That is very tidy. That's good. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And like I said, after, 6 weeks of not working on this project, like I have to relearn sometimes the things that I'm working on. So this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Excellent. So that's done. All right, next, sidebar. So sidebar layout, I'm pretty sure is the top level. So let's pull up our index. So here's the header. Here is the main. There's the footer. Here's the main wrap. Here's the blog layout. Here's the sidebar layout, the aside. So this is the top level class for the entire sidebar. That's what we're going to use to nest. So generally what I want to see as my first item in the CSS partial is the top level. Now we have sidebar item. Let's go back to our CSS file. Sidebar item. This is the next thing. This is the top level now for each individual item. So that's perfect. And then we've got everything nested within this. So there's a much tidier way to do this. So first, let's just start to pull these out. And I'm just going to stack them up down at the bottom. And then we'll go in and add. We'll go back in and add those nested sidebar item classes. And we've got our image. Now this latest post is something that is a sibling, I guess we'd call this a sibling class to sidebar item. So I'm going to leave this here for now because it is specific. So let's get everything else cleaned up and then we can see if we can improve that a little bit. And so I think these three, let me make sure that, oh, nope, those are, let's just collapse that. There we go. Same with Instagram grid. Okay. Same with drop down. All right. Okay, so we have a little more cleaning up to do. That's fine. Sidebar layout. Sidebar. Where are we here? Why the masonry is hard coded. So this entire site is hard coded. I'm not pulling in any dynamic data. There's no JSON file. There's no API. The whole point of this project is to, okay, this is good. Actually, let me rewind, go back a second here and explain what the point of this project is. I have this collection of PSDs from back when my freelancing and contracting days. I just have lots of Photoshop mockups of designs and layouts back from when I was freelancing. And I thought, why don't I build some of these? Some of these I've never built. So the whole point of these streams is to just show people how to build layouts and to do front end and to practice HTML and CSS. So I really don't use libraries. I don't use Bootstrap. I don't use Foundation. I don't use anything like that. I pretty much do everything myself because I like writing CSS. I like understanding how those things are built. I'm not saying that I never pull in APIs or dynamic data. I'm a front-end developer, so I absolutely know how to do that. But the point of the streams is to practice HTML and CSS. It's not really to learn how to use APIs or to use frameworks. So I don't use React, I don't use Angular, I don't use Vue. I know how to use those frameworks, but I'm not going to use those in the streams because I'm here to practice HTML and CSS. So I hope that makes sense. If you want a better explanation about why I'm not using dynamic data, let me know, and I will do my best to explain it. And this image class is actually the class on the figure element. That's typically what I like to do. And then I nest image, just the image element. I generally don't give image elements their own class unless I really need to. So this nesting, as far as I'm concerned, totally acceptable. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to change that. In fact, I want the image to be nested under the figure tag because I always put a figure element around the image. It's good for SEO and it's good for accessibility, and it's just the correct way to do that in the markup. Okay, so now we have some chained sibling elements of sidebar item. So do we need to break these up? I mean, yeah, I think we definitely can. Yeah, I think we definitely can. Let's see here. So do we have separate tertiary, dashed border, and image? You know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get, I want to ask ChatGPT how they would sort of explain or articulate this style of nesting. Let's just ask it how it would refactor. Okay. I'm refactoring my SCSS partial styles for a sidebar. At the bottom of this code, I'm nesting the styles. How would you continue refactoring this partial style sheet? Whoops. ChatGPT is very, very good, in my opinion, at helping with strategy and explaining things. So let's see. Okay, right now you're nesting latest post Instagram grid drop down under sidebar item. That works, but to improve readability and reusability, I'd break them into separate blocks. Okay, that's fair. This flattens the nesting a bit and avoids too deep selector chains. Extract repeated image styles into a mixin or shared selector. That's fair. I'm terrible at doing that. You have repeated .image rules for latest post Instagram grid and sidebar layout. You could refactor like this, then extend it. Move media queries to the bottom or into their own section. I don't like doing that. I'm telling you right now, I do not like moving media queries to a bottom of a sheet or into their own section. I've done that before. So this is the one piece of advice that I am going to disregard. And that's okay to do that. But just know that the reason I'm doing that is because I've done it before and I don't like that method. Okay. Consider using BEM or utility classes for repeated states. For drop-down menu.active, you might switch to is active or is open, so it's easier to control. Okay, I disagree with that. I think active, just the word active, I think is enough, but I respect the advice. Reduce specific descendant selectors. The tertiary heading and dashed border currently depend on sidebar layout, and you could flip that and just apply a sidebar layout heading or sidebar layout border class instead, which avoids heavy descendant chains. Okay, I disagree with this because sidebar layout is the parent class. So, but I am going to do this. Let's go back up to the top here. This is the explanation that I wanted. Right now you're nesting latest. Okay, that's not it. It's right here. Flattens the nesting and avoids too deep selector chains. I'm making a video editing in the browser project for my portfolio, WTYT. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what you're asking me. I don't know what YT, hang on, YTUT. WTYT. I don't know what that means. I'm so sorry. Well, if you want to restate your question, let me know. I'm happy to answer it. Sounds like you're working on a video editing project. So I appreciate ChatGPT giving me this advice. This is really what I came for right here, which, yeah, it's kind of obvious. So let's just do nested selectors that are chained. But yeah, it's the flattening and avoiding things that are too deep. So sidebar item, let's collapse these. I think there's definitely some more. I think there's definitely some more refactoring that we can do here. I think we want. That's not really the structure that I wanted, though. So we've got insta handle, container half width, anchor, image. Yeah, the images do all kind of have similar styles, don't they? Oh, what do you think? What do you what do you think? Is it a good project to share in a portfolio? Okay, I'm making a video editing browser project for my portfolio. What do you think? Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing. Any any original, I want to be careful. Any idea that you come up with and execute is a good idea for your portfolio. So what it is far less important than the execution and the follow through. I think what employers or clients are looking for are that you know what to do. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in the app itself. I think it's really about coming up with the idea, executing the layout, making sure it's responsive and accessible, making sure that it works in every browser and on every mobile device, getting it deployed to a server. Employers especially, and teams that are hiring for hiring new developers, they want to see, do you understand DevOps? Can you version control? Do you understand a good front-end set of best practices for development, testing, and deployment? And so what your project represents is that you understand front-end development. So the answer is yes. Every idea that you come up with, you do and you deploy, they're all good ideas. They're all good ideas. So if you are excited about this, you're building it, you're making sure it's responsive and accessible, and you understand the best practices around testing and deployment and accessibility, 2 thumbs up, do it. Absolutely. So good luck to you, Omar. I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Yeah, so we're on Instagram Grid. Yeah, this is kind of, I can see now. You know what though? It's absolutely fine. We're just going to leave it. This isn't rocket science, and I need to stop overthinking this. The whole point of this today is to just do some refactoring. It's not to sit and rethink all of my life choices. It's just to clean up the code a little bit and reacquaint myself with the project. So, gotta stop overthinking. So, sidebar layout. No, thank you so much, Omar. I love it when people come and ask me questions. So, good luck to you. The fact that you're even here and watching people like me and asking questions like that, it speaks volumes about what you're doing and where you're going. So, best of luck to you. Okay. So, I think this is fine. I think this is, for the most part, this is tidied up. We don't need to do too much more here. I think if I was rebuilding this sidebar, I might rethink some of these choices. So this just goes to show that, this project is only a few months old, but I've been doing so much front-end development. I've done more front-end coding in the last, 8 or 9 months than I've done in the last couple of years, because at the last job that I was at, one second, The last job I was at, I really enjoyed the work that I was doing there, but I was in a leadership role and I spent a lot of time in meetings and a lot of time like answering questions or fixing bugs, things like that. I just didn't spend a lot of time doing front end. And now I do spend a lot of time doing front end. So I've reacquainted myself, and this just goes to show that after a few months of practice, my whole approach is different. So, okay, so I think we are good. Oh, I do think that we need to nest this. And then we'll go and check our sidebar, make sure we didn't screw anything up. Okay, so our first set of styles is styles specific to the parent top level container, and then everything after that gets nested with the exception of these chained sibling selectors. And you know, I might do it different if I was rebuilding this today, but I'm not, and I'm happy with this. This is tidy enough for now. So it just goes to show that what's the saying? Perfect is the enemy of done. Perfect is the enemy of done. Don't worry about making things perfect. Nothing needs to be perfect. Okay, so let's look at our masonry layout so we can refresh our memories on what these class names are. Okay, so we've got a main with a class of main. Then we have a div with a class of main wrap, which is, for the most part, our parent level container. So if we look at our masonry layout, we have here's our main wrap, and then on the left we have the featured container, and on the right we have the masonry container. So we essentially have, yeah, this isn't, so where is the class masonry? Let's see here. So the class masonry is on the body. That's interesting. I wonder why I did it that way. I mean, putting a unique class on the body, typically the reason I do that is because I need to do something to that header or navigation specific to being on that page. So I don't know what I was doing in the header or the navigation, or if I just threw a class on the body. I'm not really sure. Oh, and the Supreme Overlord is here. Hello. Yes, it has been a while. Happy to have you. Glad you're here. Always happy to see a familiar face. Okay, so again, this is more for me than it is for you, but I'm just reminding myself this is not a time to rethink all of my life's decisions, all of my life choices. We are just here to clean up some code. So masonry main wrap is the top level container. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. And then we've got featured, comma, masonry container. So these are essentially sibling elements. We've got featured and we've got masonry container, sibling elements. So this would be kind of like that second level set of styles. Then we've got just featured with a blog item. Okay. Then we've got just masonry container with half width secondary heading. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We've got masonry main wrap. We're going to use masonry as our nesting selector. That's what we're going to do. So we'll do masonry. There we go. Now, you know, there may be another reason to use the class featured someplace else, and these styles won't interfere with that because they're nested specifically under the class masonry. So that, in my mind, makes sense. I'm going to do the same thing here. Blog item. Do we have blog item anyplace else here? I don't even see blog item anywhere on this page. I don't see blog item anywhere. Oh, underscore, that's why. Okay, so each of these items under the container. Yeah, this is not, I'm not sure what I was thinking when I named, and I did this, these very generic class names. Yeah. So now this is going to be masonry featured blog item. I mean, we could almost just take out, no, we can't take out featured because we need position relative. All right, let's move on. Okay, so we've got masonry container. We have half width, secondary heading, and then we have a media query for the masonry container. Then we have a media query for half width and secondary heading, and another media query for half width, plus we have image. All right, we're going to break these up a little bit. All right, and then let's take this image out. All right. And then I have a media query specific to the half width, so we can just move this right on down here. And we're going to take this out. We don't need this. There we go. And then there's a 1024. That's 960. Oh, I want it after. So really this is all that we need. We can take all of this out. And then same with this. We just need this width. And we can take all of this out. And then we'll add our nesting class. All right, actually, I'm good with this. I am good with this. Well, and we could actually do this. Just to keep it tidy. There we go. So now everything is nested in a nice little chunk. So now let's make sure we didn't break anything. And we didn't break anything. Look at that. Beautiful. So we are refactoring our CSS. Literally, that's what we're doing. I originally thought today that I was going to start building inner pages, but I was thinking to myself, that I hadn't worked on this project in such a long time. I kind of needed a way to reacquaint myself with what was even going on in this code base. And it was in the back of my mind that the CSS was a bit messy, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to do a little refactoring and reacquaint myself with the project. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, this looks great. I'm happy with this. Okay, so here, let's go back to this is our main style sheet. This one's pretty long. I mean, this is really everything that's on the home page, and we have a lot of chained sibling classes, sibling selectors, sibling classes, really. So I don't think that this is going to end up being exactly the way I want it to, but we could still do a little cleanup here. So the hero, I think this is our masonry. We're done with this. So we've got a main with a class of main, and then the first section is the hero with the class of hero. Then we have a div class, which is the main wrap. So let's start with the hero, which really, this could be its own style sheet. Really, it could, couldn't it? Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go hero.scss. All right. So our top level, and then we've got a hero item. And then we've got the image. This feels so good. You know what this feels like? This feels like cleaning your house. That's what it feels like. The thing that you avoid doing and then you finally do it and it just feels so good. All right. So we've got our hero, then we have the item title, then we have the hero item, we have this anchor, we have the image. So this is our hero. And I'm going to go back and take a closer look at what ChatGPT recommended. I know it recommended a few things where I'm like, no. But you know, I also don't want to be one of those developers who kind of refuses to get with the program either. So I am going to go back and look at that again. So, okay, so we've got hero. We've got item title. What is that? Oh, hang on. The hero, not the main. So here's the hero item, here's the image, here's the item title, and the secondary heading. Okay, so you know what? Those can be item title, and why did I do an H2? This should be secondary heading. I highly recommend that you don't style an H2, you style the class for the H2. That is a tip from me to you. I think that is a better approach. So let's break these up. Flatten it out. Beautiful. And then we have a media query for that H2. So I'm just going to copy this down here. And then all we really need is this font size. And I think that I think there's going to be more refactoring in our future, because one of the things that I've been doing on my most recent project, one second here, allergies, man. So the thing that I've been doing a lot lately on my most recent project is using clamp. Let's look at that. Who here has used clamp? Because it's pretty cool, but it takes a little getting used to, in my opinion. So clamp, I've been using it with width, and I've mostly been using it on font sizing, and I have not needed to write any media queries for font sizes because I'm using clamp. So the first value is the minimum, the last value is the maximum, this center value is the preferred. It's the kind of flexible. So if you want to think of it as desktop transition mobile, in this example, the font size would be 2 rems on desktop, 1 rem on mobile, and the transition between the two, is 2.5 VW, which stands for viewport width. So whatever the width of the viewport is, it's resizing based on that transitional size. So it's always dynamic, and it works really well. Like, you do not need a media query to change a font size using clamp. So I don't think I'm going to do that today, but I think that there are lots of opportunities to come back in and go through this code and update some of these things, because I do see front-end development moving towards not needing no media queries, but certainly needing far fewer media queries. And I'm here to tell you it takes a little getting used to, because media queries, we have a lot of control, obviously, over the width of the browser window and when that change is being made. And with clamp, you give up some of that control because you're setting a minimum, a maximum, and then whatever that dynamic value is in between. And it takes a little getting used to it. It feels a little fussy, but once you kind of start to get the hang of it, it works really, really well. I've used it, like I said, on font sizes and on width, and I do really like it. So I think we're going to be exploring that a lot more in the future. Okay, so here's the secondary heading. So we've got hero item title. Here's our secondary heading. And then I don't think we need this. Then we've got hero item. And we've got an anchor tag. I think these could be, we can pull this out. But I think that anchor should have a class, and we shouldn't just be styling the element. So let's just call it the hero link. All right. And then here is hero item. All right. Nice. Look at that. Nice and tidy. This, to me, is so much more structured, so much more readable, flattens it out. Yeah, I really like it. I like it. So let's make sure we didn't break our hero. And yeah, it looks great. We still have our, oops. Okay. Uh-oh, we have our first transition. We lost the transition on the other elements. Oh, that's interesting. All right, let's see what's happening. So here's the, no, that's the heading. Yeah, okay. I think I bet if I wonder if we just got this out of order. I don't know. So here, I think this is out of order. Oh, yeah, so this is the link. Let's see. I wonder if we need to do something like, oh, stop. No. See, now they're all broken. Okay. That's all right. So here's this. So when we hover on the anchor, we're triggering the image. So yeah, we wouldn't want that. Oh, this is not updating. That's why. Am I on the wrong home? What page am I on? Yeah, I'm on home. So this class is not. Oh, there's more than one. There's more than one. There's more than one. We have to update all of them. That's why. That's good. That's okay. This is good. This is how you learn. There's more than one. So I think back to hero. So this can come before. Okay, now I think it'll work. Nice. Okay, good. Good. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Okay, so I think we are done with the hero. Okay, so now we have the blog layout. So here's the hero section. Then we have this main wrap session. Then we have the blog layout, which is a sibling to the sidebar layout. And then within the blog layout, we just have all of these blog items. Yeah, and there's definitely going to be sibling classes, lots of sibling chained together classes. And that's just, you know, that was just how I did it at the time. Yeah, so that's okay. That's just the way it is. Okay, so our very first item is just blog layout. Then we have the blog items. We have a blog category. We have a secondary heading with an after pseudo class. We have a blog date. We have an image. We have a read more, which I'm guessing this read more is on a paragraph element with an anchor. If I had to guess. Yep, that's what that is. Okay. So I think that's fine as long as it's properly nested. Then we have blog links, blog comment count, blog tagged items. Then within blog tagged items, I've got nav tags, and an unordered list. And then a sibling to that is something called blog write. Then we start with the chaining. Yeah, this one got pretty complex. Okay, well, let's start with the easy ones. Let's just start with the easy ones. So we're just gonna pull these out. And again, blog layout is the outermost parent class. So that's what I'm gonna use as the selector. And oh, I think I'm gonna take this SVG out also. Yeah, I said not to style individual elements, and I'm kind of that's what I'm doing. So for SVGs and anchor elements, I mean, it just depends on the situation. In this situation, I am going to style the element. Like in the hero, I renamed that anchor element, or I gave it a class name rather. But since it's nested under a read more class, which is something that I am consistent about, I'm gonna go with it. I don't often give SVGs their own class names unless I really need to. This is usually what I do. So I am kind of like doing the opposite of what I just said not to do. But I think for an SVG and an anchor tag, that's different than an H2 or any of the headings. I think headings should always have their own class names. Yeah, for now, I think this is fine for now. Okay. There's a lot more here. Okay, so we've got blog links. Yeah, I think it's okay to break all of these up. I don't think these need to be that deeply nested. I mean, it's a lot. Let's just do one at a time. I think we can break up these as well. This one's messy. This one just feels really messy, so I won't be surprised if I broke something. And that's okay, because that's what Control Z is for. And version control. It's okay to break stuff. Okay, so let's we got a ways to go. This one's gonna take a while. Let's check and see if we broke anything. I don't think so. So this is what we were breaking up here. And we can also look at, this is the, and I pinned this in the chat as well. This is the staging site on Heroku. So we have kind of this fresh copy to look at, and everything looks okay. Oh. Yeah, everything looks fine. All right. So now we just have this media query. So everything is at a breakpoint of 960 pixels. But we have a media query for blog comment count, blog tagged items, and blog write. All right. Fine by me. And the pact says that's a beautiful blog. Thank you. That is, I did put a link in the description to the Photoshop mock-up that I purchased on Envato Theme Forest. I've had it for a long time, like, whoop, excuse me. Had it for a long time, like 9 years. So, but it's still available if you want to buy it. But also, this is open source. There's a link to the GitHub repo, so anybody who wants to use this is welcome to. Okay. So it's the nav tags. What has the UL? Nav tags, nav tags, UL. I think it's the blog tagged items that has the UL. Okay, I already screwed this up. Let's go back. So really, we just need these. All right. Oh, you know what though? Every time I change something and I save it to my clipboard, it gets deleted. So let's do that. There we go. So blog tagged items. Oh, but no, I still didn't save the whole thing, did I? We also want this. Oh my gosh, Angela. Maybe I should just leave these. Yeah. I think I just need to leave that media query alone because it's going to be way too messy to break it up. Yeah, so executive decision. I'm just going to leave that one alone. Okay, so now we have a blog item with a chained sibling class of half width. And then within that, we have blog links. And then we have a sibling selector of image only. Okay, so what I did here is these are the half width, and then this is the image only. And then we have blog pagination. I wonder why I needed to do full width for that. Let's go ahead and tackle the blog pagination. So here's the hero. Here's the main wrap. Here's the section, blog layout container, blog pagination, full width. I mean, why did I need a full width class for pagination? Because this is not full width. Full width would take up the entire layout, not just that. So I don't know. I don't remember why I did that. And it does not make sense to me. But alas, here we are. Okay. So here's nav pagination UL. Here's a pagination item, which is the container around. So nav pagination is a nav element. Then we have a UL, an LI, and a link. I'm questioning that decision too, because that means, that means that it's actually a link. It's a URL that brings you to another page and doesn't just dynamically show a different set of elements. So, that's a safe assumption. I think that's a safe assumption. Usually when you're working with dynamic data and an API, you are actually updating the URL to show another set of entries in the API. So, okay. I don't think I need to worry about that for now. So the pagination item is the LI, then we have an anchor link, and then we have the SVG and the text. let's put this, I feel like this could go in its own partial. Yeah. I feel like this could go in its own partial. So let's do that. Okay. Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot better. Okay. So the full width to me, I don't know why why does full width matter? Do I have this class someplace else? I can't remember. Well, I do, only because I copied those pages. Maybe I did full width because I was thinking about how this is full width. This is the class that I gave this article. That must be why I did that. See what I mean about needing to reacquaint myself? So I gave this a class of full width because we've got like this featured. The first is like it's a blog item, full width. And then these are blog items, half width. And then we have another blog item which is also full width and image only. Okay. Where's our toolkit? Where's our variables? This is why. Okay. Because these classes are for our Flexbox styles. Got it. Got it. See what I mean about needing to reacquaint myself with the project? Okay. Fine. That is fine. So that is specifically for Flexbox, and I think we only need to have that on the parent. I don't think that we need to carry full width through as a selector. And the pact says, gotta trust your old self. Well, yeah, you gotta trust that you had a reason for doing something, right? And I do for the most part, but I'm also just like, why did I do that? And then we'll take out the item. I'm sure we can break this up as well. So I know the item is the LI. That's fine. So we might actually want to put this first. So it comes before the LI. And we've got the LI with the class of older posts. And I think, isn't there one with newer posts too? Yep, so we've got older posts, newer posts. So I think yep, so the older posts are have this animation that goes in a negative direction, and then these are the newer posts that go in a positive direction. So that's, oh, and I can see here we already screwed something up. So that's fine. Well, we're technically not done yet anyways, but you can see here, you can see here that on hover, these animate. One go, this is negative, this is positive. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Okay. So I think that this needs a class name. So let's call it pagination link. And we are going to need to update that on every page. Yeah, we do need to update this on every page. Just kind of a pain in the butt. So let's do this. We'll do a little find and replace. Copy that. Stick that in there. Copy it in there. And then we'll say class pagination underscore link. And then we're going to say, click this link right here, and I think we can replace all. Replace 6 occurrences across 6 files. Yes. All right. You can see there that it updated. Now we'll do this one. We'll do the same thing here. Class pagination underscore link. And we'll replace all. Yes. Okay. Now this is pagination link, which I think in this circumstance is better than directly styling an anchor, even when it's nested. Blog pagination. And we'll give these nesting classes blog pagination. Blog pagination. All right. And then this is also blog pagination. Oh, oops, hang on. So this, I think this is too deeply nested. So we've got pagination item, which is the LI, pagination link, which is the anchor element. Then we have the SVG. Let's just do this. Let's change this from an anchor to the class name. So we've got the item, we've got the older posts, which is specific to the direction of the hover and the animation. Then we have the link. So I kind of feel like we should put this in the correct order. I think we want this to come before all of them. Yeah. So normally I wouldn't put the SVG before the link because the SVG is inside the link, but the SVG has the original, like sort of those stationary static transform. So, okay. So this looks good now. This looks like I would expect it to look. Let's make sure it works. Let's make sure it works so we didn't break anything. And we are on our local environment. And yes, we are still working. And whatever we did to our titles, whatever we just did resolved the issue with our titles. Oh, but we do have some issues over here too with our sidebar. So everything in the sidebar looks good except for, I think, our categories doesn't look quite right. Oh, and it's probably could be because we wrote JavaScript to help us with this categories. Okay, well, we'll get back around to it. We'll get back around to it. For now, I'm just happy that this is looking good. Okay. So we have a separate partial just for the pagination. The full width is specific to the Flexbox styles and really only needs to be applied to that parent. And then we can use blog pagination purely for styling of the links, the SVGs, and to animate the transition on hover active focus. Beautiful. Perfect. So let's move on. Okay. So now we've got, let's do so this is the image only blog item. So let's pull this out. And this is blog item image only. And then we've got the half width, blog item. All right. All right, there's a lot happening. So now we can do our nesting blog layout. And so these styles are blog links specific to, let's close a couple of these. So blog links. Okay, so blog links is the parent container for like the blog metadata, basically. So these styles are blog links specific to this half width item. I mean, do I want to put in an additional class for specificity and nesting? I'm not sure. But I am, because once again, this is not the right time for me to rethink all of my life choices. So we might revisit this in the future. Oh, and that was in the wrong spot. It should be right. Oh, you know what I bet we could do? We could do blog links, blog layout, half width. Actually, yeah. Or maybe that makes more sense. Half width blog links. Yeah, actually that does make more sense. And then this would be image only. Yeah, this does make more sense. So we've got the blog layout, which is the parent. These are really our flex and padding. Then we've got the blog item itself, which is just some margin. Then we have like these individual styles for the half width blog item, the image only. Let's make sure we didn't break anything before I go any further. I mean, it looks okay. All right, I didn't break anything, so I'm gonna proceed. How deeply nested is this? It's not too bad. I think I have to leave this. I think I've done enough to this. I think I have to leave it. There's a lot going on here. I think we've done a pretty good job of breaking it down, flattening out the structure, making it a little more specific without nesting things too deeply. It's a complex layout. It is a complex layout. When you have this, when you have different sizes all within the same container, things get complicated. That's how it goes. So, and I think this is pretty good. So we're going to leave it. So, who am I trying to convince? Me or you? Definitely me. Maybe, possibly you. I don't know. Okay. So here are the header styles. And I can kind of tell right away that I think my navigation is mixed in with the header style. So that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a separate style, a separate partial for the navigation. So button menu kind of makes me feel like that's navigation. Then we've got a logo, not navigation. And then we have something called main nav. That's navigation. Search drawer. Ooh, yeah, we're definitely going to do a separate for search. Off mobile, off canvas. That's navigation. Okay. So let's actually do search drawer first. Let's do search drawer first because I think that's, knock on wood, going to be the easiest. So we'll do underscore search.scss. And I don't already have that. I do already. No, I don't already have that in here. All right. And I think that these are also search related. I don't know. Hopefully I don't screw anything up here. Just, I feel like we've gotten pretty lucky so far by not really screwing anything up. So I'm kind of waiting for something to break. And one moment. All right. So search drawer is the parent container. Let's take a look here at our header. So here's top header. Here's search drawer right here. Then we have our search form. Then we have our button, close search. So here's what we're dealing with. Search drawer, form search, and we do have a separate partial just for forms, which is totally fine. This partial is really all about the functionality of the drawer itself. And then we have a button specific to closing the search. So we've got search drawer. Here's a chained sibling class for active and a media query. Then we've got button close. I think we can pull this out. And then we have this div element here. And again, the div is these right here. And these are the let me show you. Well, they are this button right here. These are the divs right here. So these are, this X is just two divs that I made myself with a border. So we'll go ahead and give these a class, and we'll say line. We'll call it a button line. We'll do button underscore line. search drawer. Let's give this a nesting class of search drawer. And you know what? I think we can take this out as well. It's got its own class. See how much tidier things are when you give everything a class? This is just, I mean, I'm like literally reminding myself, like, yes, that's the reason why you do that. Instead of just styling a div, give it a class name. And now look how much tidier that is. And then search drawer. All right, let's see if we broke anything, huh? That's the real test, right? All right, well, everything is still working. Nice. Excellent. All right. Good deal. All right, what's happening back here in this header? So let's do a new style sheet now just for the navigation. So the logo is part of the header, so we'll leave that here. But we'll take out these things and we'll do a style sheet just for the navigation. All right, so we've got a button for the menu. We have main nav, which I think this should go first. I think we have two sets of navigation. We have one set for mobile and one set for desktop. I don't usually do that, but the design kind of drove that decision. So here we've got main nav, and then we've got mobile off canvas. Two sets of navigation. It's not wrong. It's okay to do that. It's not my first choice. I try really hard to make sure that whatever we're showing on desktop, we can adapt for mobile. But yeah, I just felt like based on the mock-up and based on structurally the search drawer and how other things were laid out, I kind of needed to do two. Oh, and you know why that is? It was because hang on, we gotta add navigation to our there we go. It's because the mock-up had all this extra stuff in it. That's why I did a separate one. But now that I've had some time away from this, I mean, I probably could have just put this stuff inside the desktop version and hidden it. Yeah, if I was doing this again, I would probably approach that differently, but again, now is not the time to reevaluate all of my life choices. Okay. So we have this button, which does technically come first, but I'm going to put it last. So there's main nav, there's mobile off canvas. I'm going to put the button last. And then we've got the main nav is the nav element. And then we have a UL, and then we have a nav link. And we also have a nav item. Don't know if I'm even using nav item as a class. I am not. But let's give this UL a class name of nav container. And then let's take both of these out. All right. Nice. I like it. That is my dog Heidi. She hears another dog outside barking. So, okay, so mobile nav also needs a little bit of adapting. Plus we have these so main nav mobile off canvas is the parent container, and again, let's give this a class, and we'll just call it we can call it nav container, because the LIs are nav item and nav link, just like the desktop, so that's okay. So mobile off canvas. Then we've got mobile nav. So this would be nav container. Nav container. This would be nav item. And this would be nav link. So let's pull these out. So this is mobile off canvas. right. We love that. Look at that. So here's our parent container. Here's our nav element, our UL, our LI, and our anchor. Now we have the mobile about, which I think is just a sibling to the nav element. So we've got two sibling. So we have an aside, mobile about, and then another nav element, social nav. So we've these three sibling elements. But the parent is still mobile off canvas. So that's what I'm going to use as the nesting. So here's mobile about, which doesn't have any of its own styles. Mobile about does not have any of its own styles. But it has an image, an H2, and a div with for text. So I'm still going to nest it with mobile off canvas. I mean, you could technically do mobile about, but I'm going to do the parent just for the sake of consistency, just to be, yeah, like really, that's the deciding factor, is to just be consistent. You do it however it works for you and whatever makes sense for you. Sometimes the decisions that you make around structuring your CSS or structuring any code is literally just making a decision and being consistent. Whatever makes it easier for you to remember, or whatever makes it easier for another person coming along to work on this code base. I have to sort of draw on my own many years of experience thinking about how, thinking about the, like, picking up and where somebody else is left off, and I've never met that person. I don't have a chance to ask them any questions. There's no documentation. Like literally the code is the documentation. And just my own experience of what it's like to pick up another person's project and work on it, and ultimately what makes sense for me. And so that's how I do it for whoever the next person is. And since this is an open source project that I want people to be able to fork and take and use, I want to do it in a way that I, hopefully makes sense for them. So, okay, we have a button here. What's going on? Oh, it's the menu button. Got it. Okay. So let's make sure. Let's make sure we haven't broken anything. I don't think so. All right, look at that. Nice. Okay, now our button is the last thing. And again, we have these empty divs. So let's give them a class. Social nav is not, I don't think there's any social nav as part of this style sheet, because social nav has its own style sheet, and I built that in a way that is very specific. So so the pact says, I've been using Tailwind these days because it's popular and I want to get hired. Totally fair. And the structure there is not really existent. It gets messy after some time, though it could be optimized a bit. So first of all, thank you for sharing that with me. I've never used Tailwind, but I know that there are a lot, I see a lot of tutorials popping up related to Tailwind, and certainly this is not the first time that I've had somebody mention it to me. Yeah, here's the thing. I am totally agnostic when it comes to frameworks. I personally don't use Bootstrap or Foundation, which I understand is not Tailwind, is different from either of those things. I purposely don't go out and learn how to use a lot of frameworks or libraries because I think that using those things don't really matter if you don't understand core foundational CSS concepts. So for example, if you have a hard time, if you're not really sure the difference between inline block or display block, display inline block, and display inline. If you don't know the difference between those three things, or why you would use one or the other, or what elements are default display properties, I don't think learning Tailwind makes a bit of difference. If you have a hard time with positioning, you don't understand where position relative goes and where position absolute or fixed go, or how to anchor something that is fixed or absolute, then I don't think a framework or something like Tailwind does a lot of good. Now, I'm not implying that you don't know what those things are. That's just sort of why I choose not to use those things, because I really want to understand what the properties are. I will say this though, I'm not looking for a job. So yes, you should absolutely be learning the things that are going to make you the most marketable, get your resume into the right hand, get hiring managers and tech leads wanting to interview you. And if Tailwind is the thing that is going to get you the job, then absolutely learn it. What I'm hoping people take away from my streams is that in addition to learning the frameworks or the libraries that help you get hired, you should also understand the core foundational principles of CSS. That's what I'm hoping people understand and people take away from my streams. So, but thank you for sharing. Good luck to you. I hope that it does help you get hired. I can tell you also that in my experience, I work, there's so much legacy code out there. There's so much legacy code out there, and it is entirely likely that you will take over and work on something built in Bootstrap or built in Foundation, or maybe you take over for somebody like me who just rolled their own and didn't use a library or a framework. And you have to know how to jump in and pretty much be able to learn anything. It's great that you do that because styled components just entered maintenance mode and people are talking about defaulting back to SCSS and CSS modules. So they went full circle, right? I mean, yeah, I think that people are starting to talk more about getting sort of back to basics. Here's the number one reason I decided to start streaming. It's because I was working with junior developers who spent thousands of dollars on a boot camp, and all they did was learn React. They didn't understand how to do really, really basic things. I'm thinking of one person in particular that after a couple of years still didn't understand basic display properties, basic positioning. And I want to be careful because this person was a really good, interesting, fun person who I liked. They just had a really hard time with these core foundational principles. And part of the reason was they didn't think that they were particularly important. So I'm trying to reach an audience of people that want to understand some basic things. And so once you understand basic things, you can jump in and use Tailwind. You can jump in and use Bootstrap or Foundation or whatever other things are out there. What's the other one? Post CSS. You can jump in and use those things because it's all just a matter of semantics and formatting. And really, you already know CSS. You're just learning You're just learning formatting or a particular way of nesting, or you know what I mean? Those things are easy to do. You'll be very adaptable to any framework or library because you will understand CSS. That's the most important thing. Okay. I'm talking too much. But I love these conversations. I love these conversations. And I think they're obviously really important. So, okay. So Social Nav already has its own partial style sheet, and I built it in a way where you could put these styles anywhere, and they don't need to be specific to mobile off canvas. So we're not going to see that I don't think we're going to see that anywhere here. We're just on the button. And so the button is, where are you, button? I think the button is actually, I think the button is in the header. Here's the logo. Here's the top. Yeah, the buttons are in the header. So that's fine. They can be in the header, but I think that this still belongs in the navigation style sheet. So let's do class. We'll do button line. But we need to make sure. Oh, we do need to make sure that so I think it's okay to pull. Well, let's just go ahead and rename these button line. So button menu is going to be our parent, is going to be the parent container because it's not inside mobile off canvas, but I do still think that it belongs in this style sheet. So let's pull these out. So there's button menu. And then here's button line. So we'll do button menu. We'll see if we broke anything. All right. Oh, we broke something. Let's see what's happening here. It's there, we just can't see it. Button menu, button line. Yeah. Button menu, button line. Did I spell something wrong? Should at least be able to see it. Did I added it, right? Yeah. Oh, right here. This is why. Okay. So this is button menu. Hang on. Is that right? Yes. There we go. Okay, and yeah, so this is our nesting isn't quite right. So we may, I think we're gonna need to keep this inside. And that is just fine. So let's take this out. And then I don't think that's right either. Is it? No, that's not right either. So it actually goes up here. So when you hover on the button menu, you trigger the button line, which means this should probably, these are the original styles, so I'm going to put it up here. Yes. There we go. All right. I like it. Neat and tidy. All right, header. We're getting there. We're almost there. We're almost there. So we've got header, and these are our original styles. Then we've got a top header. Then we have a media query that is just for the header. So let's take this top header out. And then we've got a whole bunch of stuff inside this top header, which is totally fine. And we've got the primary logo, an anchor element, a span, and a media query. So, and then we have a media query with a font size just for the logo. So let's take these out, and I think these should have their own class names. And then a media query at 560 pixels for the span. Take this out. Yeah, we should definitely come through and do rewrite some of these font sizes with a clamp, because we would be able to get rid of a lot of these media queries. So these are all things related to the logo. So let's get some proper class names in here. So we've got the primary logo. We'll do a class, and we'll just say logo link. Let's collapse this SVG. This span, what is this span for? I mean, we have the access hidden. Oh, this is that's what this is for. Oh, actually, I took all that out, didn't I? Yeah, that's why. I put in an SVG. Originally, this was a font with a bunch of CSS, so we actually don't need that. Yeah, so we do not need this at all. Nice. Love that. Love that for us. So this would just be then logo link, and then we're going to say header. And then we've got the primary logo. Whoops. Also with a header selector, header class rather, class selector. All right. Then we've got this top header, top left, top right, top left, main logo, top right. I think we can take these out. So we've got top header, header, top left, top right, header, top left, header, main logo. I think this could also benefit from clamp, but I don't think these styles, there's anything wrong with these styles either. And we don't need a media query for mobile. The max width takes care of that. And then we've got top right, header, all right, that looks good. I love it. Look how tidy this is. God, it's like having a clean house. I love it. All right, let's make sure we didn't break anything. I mean, so far so good. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, wow, we are in the home stretch. Look at us. Okay, so here are the form styles. So we've got the only style on the parent form is position relative. And then we've got some input styles. I'm sure that this is the subscribe button. Then we have a chained sibling class of form search. So this must be form search. So this is a class that is specific to this search drawer. Yep, it is form search. And then this is input type search. So, and I used an attribute as a selector, which I think is fine. because it'll look for any input that is a type search and give it these styles. So I think that's fine. And then we have a submit button. So we have a subscribe button, which I'm pretty sure is the button in the sidebar. And then we have a submit button, which is the button in the search drawer. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's do this. So we'll do form. And then this is the subscribe button. I'm going to come back to form search. Let's just do input type search. I'm going to put that right here. And this is the submit button. And then we have I think I'm just going to leave this the way it is. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave this the way it is. These are the styles specific. It's still the parent element, but it's specific to this chained sibling class. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Good. Let's make sure we didn't break anything. Yep, we're still good on styles as well. We still need to deal with this. Honestly, I'm not sure if I really care about that today. Just being honest, I might look at that another day. I think if I only broke one thing today, like that's pretty good. So, okay, so we're on our last one. We're on the footer. Nice. Okay, so we have parent styles for the footer, which should just be literally, let's open some of these back up. So this should just be, where are we? Footer, class, footer. So that is our parent set of styles. Then we've got main logo, primary logo, and then we have a media query that is specific to primary logo. And then we do have social nav styles that are really, this is layout based, and this is based on the fact that the footer is dark. You can kind of see here we're a little bit screwed up. Oh, we're very screwed up. Okay, well, let's just keep going. We'll figure it out. We're just missing a class. Not panicking. We're just missing a class. That's all. Okay, let's just start with this. And then primary logo. All right. And then we have our social nav, unordered list. And I'm just going to leave this anchor element, even though I've been renaming those. For now, I'm just going to leave it, not worried about it. So now we've got footer nav, and then we also, in footer nav, we have nav link nested. So let's, I think we can pull these out. And then I'm going to pull this out too. All right, wow. So we've got our footer as the parent, and then we have everything else broken up. This, I think we can take out because I did the same thing in the footer that I did in the header, where the old logo was text. It was a font, and I took that out. So we don't need this anymore. Yay. And let's see here. We're just missing some styles. We are missing some styles. I think we're missing, I feel like we're missing some flexbox styles. Well, let's look at, hang on, let's look at, oops. So this, yeah, so main nav UL. So this was getting styles, this was pulling styles from the header. Come on, yeah. Or I guess from, it's not pulling it from variables. Main nav UL. That must be why I put this class on it. Footer, logo, social nav, main nav, UL. Oh, how much you want to bet? It's because we added a class. So this is now nav container. Is that going to fix it? Oh, we're looking at the wrong one. Hang on. There we go. That fixed it. Because we renamed those, we gave those ULs their own class names in the header. So when I reused main nav from the header navigation, it applied down here too, just in terms of the layout. So there we go. There it is. Nice. So let's see how things are stacking up for mobile. Yeah, we definitely need to get this deployed. Yeah, that looks like the only thing that's broken is this drop down in the sidebar, which we're gonna fix next week. I'm not going to worry about that today. So we're going to fix that next week. So let's go ahead and deploy this and check it. Definitely want to check it on the server. And we want to check it on mobile. So so we refactored all SCSS partials. All right, let's give that a minute to percolate. And, oh, stop. Hang on. This is the blog. There we go. I mean, really, everything should look the same, but we need to just give it a second here to make sure it actually... Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay, that's broken, so that's how I know everything's been deployed. Oh, you can't see that. Okay, so here we are. So this is the start of the sidebar now. And there are some things that don't appear on the screen. Like there's a border around a lot of these elements, but I know they're not coming through, so you'll have to trust me that they're there. So that's working. Like the button on my phone, can you see there that there is a border and there is a button, but it's not coming through on the screen. So it's definitely not broken. Oh, and this is still... So hang on. Let's refresh this again. We might have some caching because that should be broken on mobile too. So yeah, let's hang on, let's pull it up on, let me pull it up on Safari here. There could definitely be some caching going on there. Okay, so now I'm in Safari. Oh yeah, I think this is broken too. This grid is broken. Well, at least we know we're getting a fresh copy of the assets. Okay, you know what? If we need to fix like 2 things in the sidebar next time, I'm completely fine with that. I got done what I wanted to get done today, which is refactoring the CSS and reacquainting myself with what is happening on this site. So for all intents and purposes, we have so much of this site done. We have the core styles, the header, the footer, the links. We built the home page. We built our masonry page. Ooh. Okay, I have to go through. I think I'm going to have to go through and update some of the class names on the inner pages. So I will do that before next week. I will make sure I do that before next week. And we have so many of these styles done. So we just need to build out the inner pages. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. This was a really good exercise today. This was a really good exercise today. Yeah, so that's that. I know what I need to get done next week. I need to update the class names on the inner pages because we changed a lot of class names around the navigation and the header and the footer. And when I built the inner pages, well, I mean, I didn't build the inner pages. I just made copies of the home page for the inner pages. And this is one of the drawbacks to building static websites, not having dynamic content, is that if you have, so on this site, we have 7 pages. That means we have 7 headers. That means we have 14 sets of navigation because we have 2 sets of navigation per header, desktop and mobile. So this is a drawback to building static sites where if you make one change, a class name, a link, a link name, you have to do that now in 14 places. So I choose to do it this way because this is an open source project and I don't know what framework, whoever forks this or uses it, I don't know what framework you're using or what your preference is. So I really just want it to be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then you can take it and do whatever you want with it. The drawback for me is that if I make a change like this, I have to remember to go in and change it everywhere. So I know now that I have to do that for next time. And then we also have to fix those 2 things, the Instagram grid and our category drop down in the sidebar. But that is small potatoes compared to the amount of refactoring that we did today. So I am very pleased with this. I am very, very pleased with this. So that's it. That's it. We're good. We're good. Thank you to everybody who joined me. I've been gone for about 6 weeks and I don't know, I'm not going to be back tomorrow. I have plans, family plans tomorrow. I don't even think I'm going to be streaming next weekend, but I am not sure. I may do a stream during the week this week, but I'm pretty sure next weekend I have things on the calendar that I need to do. But after next weekend, I will be getting back to regular weekend streaming. So thank you to everybody who joined me today. If you like this kind of content, consider liking and subscribing. I don't say that often enough. And I am trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers so I can get this channel monetized. I also have a ton of videos coming. I keep saying that, but it is true. It really is true. I have more content coming. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. I will see you again soon. And I hope you're having a great one wherever you are. Bye-bye.